had to step away. Hi, knockoff Spotify. How are you? Hey, D-Man. No problem. Yeah, I don't have a car. But I want to. Oh, I'm lagged. Ooh. Hey, Ross Lynch. Hey, Oscar. Thank you, Ross Lynch. Hi, Carrie. I didn't see you come in. So, to my moderators, I posted the link to this live on my Instagram, on my TikTok feed. I don't think it'll be busy, but it could be. So just FYI, be ready for something. Whatever that something might be. How is everybody doing? I am honestly a little bit excited for today's live. Because we have some interesting things. By the way, you probably can't see it, but I put up something for my spooky channel and it did not work. For today, I need props. I need my props. Why? Oh, why? I'm going to do something that absolutely maybe people don't like a super lot, but I have to do it. Because I forgot to do it earlier. I apologize for the view. Okay, I gotta get caught up because my back was to y'all. I'm sorry to hear that, Ross Lynch. Okay, so today's topic was something that popped up. Yeah, we have, I think, around 13 inches of snow. Which is kind of crazy. So today we are talking about primates as pets. Now, let's define primates. Let's define primates. No. We had 13 inches this weekend. We had 10 inches this weekend. And then we had more snow last night. So 10 inches like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that. And then 3 to 4 inches Monday, Tuesday. No. Sunday, Monday. Hello, sushi yummies. Oh, sushi is yummy 67. Hi. Okay, so when I'm talking primates, I am talking anything that is a lemur or under. So it could be a lemur, it could be a bush baby, a taser. I'm glad you found it. Oh, awesome. I saw you follow me. And then we have the monkeys. So monkeys basically are anything that is not a lemur or anything else that has a tail. Apes don't have tails. And then we have the apes, and that could be gibbons. It could be gorillas. It could be chimpanzees. Jumanji meets Dungeons and Dragons. Ooh, I like that. That would be awesome. Orangutans. Or less likely, mountain gorillas. Right, apes don't have tails. Now, chimps, yes, chimps, vicious. Or they can be. One of the issues, no, chimpanzees are not monkeys. Hi, Montgomery. Hi, Montgomery. No, anything that has a tail, anything that has a tail is a monkey or a lemur or a lesser primate of some sort. But apes don't have tails. They just have that. No tail on me, just a bottom. I won't do that with the chimp because the chimp, he has issues. So one of the problems that we fall into with primates is that very often they need a lot of butts today. They absolutely have needs that can't always be met in your home. Probably should not be in your home to begin with, but we're going to talk about it. So primates have various needs that, like I said, may not always be able to be met in your home. The great apes are intelligent. They're all intelligent. They need some type of stimulation. They need to be able to experience new things. They need to be able to use their mind. And sometimes we can't always do that. We can't always provide that. They need space. I don't know about you. I don't have room for an animal like this in my house. And even if I had the space, I'm not going to bring one of these into my home. They're expensive, guys. The space needed is just, yeah, it's not good. And then you have to feed them. You have to meet all of their needs. Socially, psychologically, space, all of that stuff has to be met, or you're not going to have healthy animals. And it'll show. Another thing that we don't very often think about, including lemurs, yes, they have very unique social structures that you need to think about. Oh, let's see, okay, we're not going to cover that yet. Another issue, and I've already sort of touched on it, is social deprivation. Big time. Just as an example, I have an outline that I'm following. So for lemurs like this guy, which is a ring-tailed lemur, their family group is anywhere from 3 to 30 individuals. 3 to 30 individuals. You, as a person, are not part of that equation. You may help and you may interact with them, but you're not necessarily part of the equation. Same thing with some of the other primates. They live in troops, they live in groups, and again, you are not necessarily part of that group. They're not a dog. A dog, when you take in a dog, you become part of that pack. Animals like primates, they're a whole different level. There is safety to consider. You wouldn't bet on what? Chimpanzees can be aggressive. They might be absolutely 100%. I probably shouldn't do that. They might be 101% okay as babies or as youngsters. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they can form bonds. I'm not saying that they don't, but I think you need to be wary of situations. Chimps have proven to be, and we know that they are carnivores. Maybe omnivores is a better term, and it is a better term. They will take other animals in the wild. We have had people who have had these and been injured. As adults, chimps are known to be aggressive. And if they are not properly socialized and have others of their group, they can suffer mentally, just like you can. If I take you away from your normal surroundings, and or better yet, let's not do that, because that sounds really weird. But let's say that you move to a new city, a big city like Chicago or Salt Lake City or Miami or Los Angeles, whatever. You know absolutely nobody, and it can be hard. Imagine taking an animal out of their normal situation and expecting them to fall into whatever your life is. When they reach maturity, they become adults, but they also become more aggressive. A monkey, especially those who feed on animals, have very strong jaws and very big teeth. A baboon's mouth, you don't want to take a bite from a baboon. You don't want to take a bite from a chimp. These guys are capable, especially the great apes, absolutely capable of unaliving you. Probably more so, if it's going to happen, probably it's going to happen here or here. Not that a gorilla can definitely do damage. Not going to lie about that. But any of the primates can bite. And the problem is dogs and cats will scratch. But if you own the animal, you might still get scratched. You might still take a nip here and there. But typically dogs, once they're yours and they get used to you and you get used to them, chances are you're going to be okay. They're probably not going to bite you. But things are very different with primates. It's a whole different intelligent level. And they're less likely. They can be. You're right. I know of somebody who owns a cat. You can pet it for a little bit. And then when he's done or she is done, it's your bit. It may not break the skin, but you still take a bite. I am definitely not the alpha. At my brother's house, never had a problem with his dogs. They don't listen super good, but I've never had a problem. So they're trained. But you can't, it's harder. You can train primates and they can learn, But you may not be able to totally take everything out. You may not be able to take the wild 100% out of them. They're still going to rely on instinct to an extent. Any questions up to this point before we move into a major red flag? That's true. I'm part of the family. Lately, Cyrus has been really, really attached to the hip. I think that's because when it's wintertime, I don't really see the dogs all that much. So in the springtime, I have to sort of hop in there and rebond. So one of the bigger issues, and again, we don't necessarily think about it, there is a zoonotic risk with primates. And what do I mean by zoonotic? I mean diseases. And it's a serious, serious thing that you have to take into account. You can pass diseases between you and the primates. A cold can be passed. Hepatitis B, monkeypox, which is absolutely not something you want to get. It comes on excuse me. It comes on a little bit like chickenpox, only worse. Let's see. Believe it or not, they can pass what's called SIV. Some of it, yes. We don't know when it happened, but at some point, SIV, which is, does that sound familiar to anybody? SIV, HIV. Okay. They can pass that to you. And most of that is going to be because people have contact with blood, and it's usually going to be in hunting. But yeah, anyway, you're going to be out hunting, you get bit or you get scratched. Yeah. More than likely, though, not the same way that typically HIV is spread in humans. You would be out hunting. There's actually a video on the channel that talks about it. Another thing that you can pass back and forth is hepatitis or herpes B, which you can get from a bite. Nope, it is not a myth. Again, we don't know when this happened. And it's right. That, Ross Lynch, you hit the nail on the head. It's not from somebody sleeping with a monkey. It's because a hunter was out and managed to get blood. They managed to get blood mixed in with their blood. So you had an infected primate. Maybe it wasn't cooked well enough and still had blood in it. Maybe you got bit and the monkey had blood. That's how a lot of this stuff gets passed. With their herpes, you get bit, scratched, exposed to fluids. That virus that I just talked about is potentially lethal in humans. Ebola. Again, you're coming into contact with blood, other bodily fluids, a sneeze, whatever. They can pass that. If your animal is sick, Marsburg virus, direct contact with infected primates. If the animal wasn't properly quarantined and not tested, all of that fun stuff, you could get that transferred. And that, again, not safe. Monkeypox, a bite, a scratch, contact with the lesion. That's all it takes. TB. Yes, you can pass and they can pass TB back and forth. Malaria, a little bit less likely from an actual animal. You can pass influenza, so the flu, common cold, and pneumonia. True. You can pass measles. I don't know if you knew that or not, but yes, you can pass measles to the animals. TB, herpes simplex, so cold sores, especially, it can be fatal to the monkeys. SARS, COVID-19. Yeah, it's a real thing. So it is something that you have to be careful with. It's sort of like, if you have a dog, you have to know that there are certain diseases that, or a cat, that they can pick up. Nope. So now that we've talked about diseases, we are going to talk about something that is equally troubling, at least in my mind. Okay. So it is safe to assume that most primates are going to be covered by CITES. That is the organization that protects primate species and other wildlife from being exported or imported. Chimpanzees, in the last 6 years, there have been over 14,000 chimps have been lost to the illegal wildlife trade. That doesn't necessarily mean for pets. You can look at that another way. That's basically one chimp being poached every 4 hours. So if you think of a day, that's pretty ridiculous to think about. On the other hand, a baby chimp can fetch over 10,000 pounds. Money, 10,000 pounds. Any questions at this point? Because I want to make sure I'm covering this, but also making sure that we understand the situation. By the way, I was hoping I'd have more people. I can't tell you that because, yeah. What I can tell you is that for every animal that is captured, and then found by law enforcement, there will be 5 or 10 chimps that ends up. There will be 5 or 10 that slip through the cracks. In order to get a baby, poachers may have to take out the adults in order to get the babies. Because people don't want this. People don't want this. They want a baby. And so mom or dad, they all have to sort of go bye-bye. CITES, so chimpanzees under CITES, they're classified as an Appendix 1 species, which means that they are completely banned. You cannot take animals from the wild, and there's zero trade in their parts that are legal. Except in rare cases such as scientific research. Another problem that we find is that even though we have laws protecting these animals in their native land, those laws aren't always enforced. And so what happens is the protection that's there isn't protecting them. one of the problems that we have is pet trade. Lots of baby chimps end up in homes, and not necessarily here in the United States, but it's a global issue. It's estimated it is estimated that there are somewhere between 200 to 300 chimpanzees in private homes in the United States. 200 to 300 chimpanzees in private homes. Yeah, and that's a problem. That's a problem that we're seeing. We're also starting to see demand where they're taking hippos. And it is estimated that there are perhaps around 600 in research labs and 800 living in zoos or sanctuaries. Either way, we have a lot of chimpanzees in homes. Keep in mind, that's just chimpanzees. There are also monkeys and other animals in people's homes. I'm going to say something, and it may come back on me. I don't know. If you are watching YouTube and you see somebody that obviously is not working at a zoo and they have a primate and you watch their video, you're feeding, because you watch that video, that if you watch 30 seconds of that video, you are putting money towards that person, which means, in a sense, you are paying for your, in a sense, you're feeding that illegal trade. Now, in some states, you can own monkeys. You can own primates. Keep in mind that take this with a grain of salt, okay? Take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. Do your research on this. Alabama, in the following states, for the state, I'm not talking city, I'm talking state. These states are cited as having no statewide permit or restriction requirements for many primate species. Alabama, Indiana, Kansas, Michigan, Nebraska, Nevada, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Virginia. The following states supposedly require permits and licenses: Delaware, Idaho, Missouri, New Mexico, North Dakota, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Wyoming. In the following states, they have bans, complete bans: Alaska, California, Colorado, Georgia, Hawaii, Illinois, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Montana, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Utah, Vermont, Washington. There are some that have partial bans. Arkansas bans apes, baboons, or macaques. Connecticut bans primates over 35 pounds at maturity. Florida requires Class 1 or 2 permits. Class 1 animals like great apes are banned as pets. Ohio, strict permit requirements. Certain species are banned. Tennessee, partial ban on some species. West Virginia, partial ban on some species. Texas, a ban is required at the county level. That was all looked up on AI. So do your research. I am not advocating for primates as a pet. Let me be clear on that. In my opinion, no primate should be a pet. That is a very strong, absolutely no in my book. And you're welcome to your opinion on that. It's not worth doing. There are other exotic animals out there that you could get. One thing I do know is on the flip side, they are trained, some species are trained to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Helper animals, sort of like a dog would be for somebody that's blind. So there are some things that I might take a swing on and say, okay. The problem is, as I see it, you take an animal into your house. You have to feed it. You have to provide a cage of some sort. You have to provide food and medicine. And then 5 years down the road, you decide, this thing is getting too big. I can't take care of it. Now you have to find a place for it. And you may not be able to. Or you find out, you get the animal home and you find out, oh, it's illegal in my state. So what do you do with it? That's where the problems become real. Or you think, well, you know, little George has never bit me. Little George has never bit me. But so it must be okay for my friends and my other outside family to be a part of this. And so you bring George out for the whole family to meet, or maybe it's loose and there's little kids around, or you have somebody that you don't know come into the house, or maybe a friend is visiting from out of town that the animal doesn't know, and the unthinkable happens. And now you have a possible lawsuit on your hand. Not to mention, you could be held accountable for their medical care. So it's not always something that, is going to go smoothly for you. My animals, you say that almost like it's a bad thing. Animals, and we all know this, animals can react very different with you as the owner versus a stranger. Cyrus does really good with me until I open up the gate and don't announce myself. And then I'm the worst thing since the mailman or the guy walking up the back street. I'm a threat. But if, I don't know, Carrie comes over, Cyrus doesn't know her. I would never allow, if I'm watching kids, I don't want other kids over. Especially if the backyard is where they want to be. Because Cyrus doesn't know them. And I don't need a bite happening because somebody went into the backyard. These are very real possibilities that you have to consider. Another thing to consider is a lot of our primates are endangered. Let's see. This is the fastest way I know to do it. Well, that's weird. Western lowland gorilla. Critically endangered. Bornean orangutan. Critically endangered. Tapanula orangutan. Critically endangered. Sumatran orangutan. Critically endangered. Chimpanzee, endangered. Bonobo, endangered. Western chimpanzee, critically endangered. So then you open up this That's the other thing that you have to look at. The other thing you have to look at is if you take this animal in, I'm 54. So I'm 54. We're going to use an example of a marmoset. A marmoset can live for 20 years. So I would be 74, sort of at the end of their life cycle. I don't know what's going to happen. If something happens to it or to me, what do I do? That's where you have to plan, because you don't want something happening and the city having to take care of it, or whoever having to take care of it. That's why research. I don't know about 100, but cockatiels 25, African grays, macaws, and cockatoos can go for 80 years. And so if I got one today, I would have to have somebody else take it. And that can be extremely hard on a parrot. Extremely hard. We are going to be discussing exotic pets in tonight's live. So we're going to put a different spin on it, and it'll be more open. But this is one of those topics that needs to be talked about, because I've seen strange things that sometimes people take into their homes. And we need to be careful doing it. That's So this is my take on it, Ross Lynch. There are 3 kinds of animal companions. The ones we eat, the ones we keep as pets, and have been for generations, and exotic pets. And it's the exotic pets that, generally speaking, are the ones that are going to cause the problems. And yes, I include parrots up in that. Um, in 2024, a pet vervet monkey bit the ear of an 11-year-old boy. April 1st, 2024, 2 lemurs believed to be somebody's pets escaped and drowned. But we're not, I mean, we're worried about that, but September 24th, 2023, a 2-year-old spider monkey kept as a pet. Oh, wait, never mind. I thought that was. Yeah. A child was bitten on a finger by a marmoset who was kept as a pet in her babysitter's home. The animal was seized and was euthanized for rabies testing. Oh, and March 12th, 2023. Yeah, it is basically. In March 12th, 2023, a woman was attacked by a neighbor's pet macaque. It ripped out handfuls of her hair, nearly bit her ear in half. She had to receive plastic surgery. Um, And, excuse me, she had to receive rabies shots, plastic surgery. The monkey was later killed by another, or unalived by another neighbor. May 10th, 2022, a 7-month-old Capuchin monkey was bit his owner while the owner was giving it medicine, or giving it water, sorry. A woman was bitten by one of her 3 Capuchin monkeys while feeding them from outside of the cage. The woman's right index finger was removed by the monkey, and it broke her middle finger. A 15-year-old was bitten by a Capuchin monkey that she purchased online. So yeah, they do bite, and it's not always pretty. Apparently. Yep, I said 15. This is not the incident that we talked that the famous incident, I don't think. An adult male chimpanzee kept as a pet was out of the cage. It mauled the owner's 50-year-old daughter. She received bites to her torso, arms, and legs. So these animals are no joke. And I mean, any animal is apt to bite. Any animal will defend itself. Yeah. I mean, I was extremely lucky. I think in the 20 years that I had my animals, The worst thing that I ever received was basically nips and the kicking of hairs. That was it. My skin was never broken. I was never stung. I was never bit. But we need to do better. Oh. Yeah, that could be bad. Ross Lynch, that could be bad. Ooh. That's scary. No, thank you. I think I've covered Okay, so I'm going to do it again. Oh no, I would think not. Okay, so wow. So here are things to consider before you decide that you want one of these animals. They can cost up to $7,000 for just the animal itself. Custom build cages can be up to $3,500. Branches, toys. You're looking at around $500. Specialized lighting, vet screening, you're looking at $900. The cost of animal plus initial setup, you're looking at $11,000, 11,900 or above. Specialized diet could be up to 2,400 for a year. Routine vet care up to 1,200. Enrichment supplies. You could be spending up to $150 per month. Altogether, for reoccurring animal care, you're looking at between 2,200 and 5,400. Estimated total for first year, $17,300. So a lot of money to be put towards something that you may not even keep. That's for the first year. So, no thank you. One of the things I'm learning in my time on YouTube, if you go in, if you go in and you look at what place is more dangerous than another, there are states that have this thing about it. And Florida is just one of those places. There is a pediatric emergency room doctor that I follow on Facebook. And she had talked about in a video how it is not okay to just go into Florida and decide, oh, I want to go swimming in a river. And then to just go out and do it. She actually had a flow chart. Okay. She actually had a flow chart that showed what to do and what not to do. Yeah, pets are pricey. You're right. But some are more pricey than others. Well, guys, I hate to do it, but I have a big video to edit. D-Man. I have tomorrow, what I'm hoping is going to be tomorrow's video is going to be water hyacinth as a invasive. So, and it's already written up. I just have to put it together. No, I don't want to go swimming. I would just as soon have a friend and go to their house and go swimming, as long as there's no gators in it. It looks like it's going to be pretty solid. Ross Lynch, did you like the video? The new video? The top secret video? I sort of hinted that a video like that might be coming. And there's supposed to be 3 of them. We did one in the summer at a different location. Lots of stuff. Lots of stuff to see in that one. Yeah, I did not do the editing or the camera work. All I had to do was be there and talk. Ooh. I would think so. Well, as of right now, as of right now, $1,869. Okay. As of right now, it has 68 views. I wish. Shorts are like so important. I literally have I have 1, 2, 3. I literally have over a week of shorts that are scheduled. I'm scheduled through the 10th. My Discovered Win video was published November 3rd. I think it has the highest amount of views, I think, on any video. No, not the highest on any video, but the highest for any short. It has 1,205 views, which is crazy for me. I had that guy ask me what the worst invasive species is. That short has 847 views, which is good for me. But guys, I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna go eat lunch, and then I'm gonna get back to work. So have a good one. I will be back at 6. A parachute video? Ross Lynch, my heart just dropped. No. I would love to get like an underwater camera. Skydiving? No. Nope. I wouldn't even, I would not even go up in the Sears Tower, let alone skydive. Anyway, guys, bye-bye. Have a good one. I will see you later.